And if you're offended, fuck you.
Yeah, we don't care.
This is for, this is not for pansy ass bitches. This is for strong-minded individuals who want to grow.
Hey guys, welcome to the Primal podcast. If you're a sensitive little bitch, you might not want to listen to this. But if you're somebody that wants to better your life, then this is probably the podcast for you. I'm your host, Matthew McCabe, and I'm here with my co-host, Kevin Train.
Hey, what's up, guys? And this is just a new setup we have for episode 2, just because we want this to be more intimate and just more conversational based. So the last episode, me and Matt were sitting next to each other but facing the camera, and it was a little awkward. So let's have a conversation face to face, just bro talk.
Yeah, we'll see how this one works.
Yeah, we're still getting used to it. But so how's your week?
My week's doing good. Today, I'll tell you about my day because every day is really busy for me. So today, woke up 8 a.m., slept in a little bit, hit the gym right away, talked to a couple people, promoted, went home, ate breakfast, hung out with Marlo Oliver for a little bit, then went over to Jiu-Jitsu open mat, and now I'm here doing the podcast with you.
Yeah, I actually went to Giant Fitness for the first time today, and, I'm a shy guy, but I still need to, talk to people, and it's becoming more natural now because I don't have to be in my own head before talking to a person. I just see a person and be like, oh, I'm just gonna walk up.
Yeah, it's an everyday effort, and every day, if you practice every single day doing it, it comes second nature.
Yo, dude. So before we get into the topic, Matt got super pissed off. So I think his anger will start feeling this topic.
I might go in today.
Yeah, because you left your house and then
about 10 minutes on my way here, I had to drive back because I forgot my laptop. Then I drove all the way back to the Glassboro store with my laptop, and I noticed a piece of my charger was still at home. So then I had to drive all the way back home and come all the way back with my piece of the charger so we could get this going.
Yeah, So now your anger is going to feel this topic. So
hopefully.
So today's topic is people don't put their money where their mouth is, and
we don't like that at all.
Yeah, because we've worked with people who talk a big game, and they're just like, "Oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this," and I'm like, "Oh, bet, let me do it." And then we put in the work, and then a week later be like, "Oh, how's your end?" And be like, "Oh, I totally forgot.
They didn't even start. Yeah,
I forgot. Oh, I have this. I'm busy." I'm like, fuck you, man.
The worst is constantly, all the time, people are always telling me they're going to do something, and then they never do it. And it's like, why say you're going to do something if you know damn well you're not going to put the work in for it? At least try. At least get the work started so you can say you failed. You know what I mean? At least get that far.
Yeah, and not only that, when you're working with people, don't leave them hanging.
Right.
Because I've worked with numerous people.
Yeah. Because what I was going to say with the failure thing, because if you're willing to fail, you're going to get better the next time.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to keep doing that until you perfect something that's actually good.
You know what people always say? Oh, I'll get to it when I get at this point in life. Oh, I don't have the equipment. I don't have this and that and third. I don't have the money. It's no, you just don't have creativity.
Right.
So I've told you this before. So before I had all this recording set up and everything like that, so I'm a singer and I've done vocal covers back in high school, but I didn't have a job. I don't have the equipment or anything like that. So what I did was I stole my dad's digital camera, just recorded my vocals through digital camera, put it on my computer, converted it to MP3, and then put it into an instrumental. And that was a huge process. And especially since I'm a perfectionist and I'm always trying to re-record, redo and everything. So that took days for me to do it. But
so what I'm thinking is you can always come up with a reason why you can't make something happen, right? Mm-hmm. But what people don't understand is about these reasons is those are actually excuses that are blocking them from being able to do what they actually want to do.
Yeah.
Whereas even though you didn't have all that equipment, you made it happen anyway with the things you did have access to.
Yeah, and with that, you build your creativity, you learn the skills, even though maybe your quality is subpar, but at the same time, you understand how to do things on a basic level, so when you have the real shit, it's just second nature.
Right, and it comes easy. Yeah.
And that's what people don't realize. Oh, I don't have the money. It's well, do you have the creativity? You came from you don't have anything, but you had the creativity.
Right. And I was willing to put in the work. I was willing to fail flat on my face, get back up, try again.
Dude, remember? So remember when we were getting some supplies for a shop, and you were so creative. So you forgot the tape measure, you forgot the pen. So we were supposed to get the planks
Right.
and measure the planks so we can cut it, but you didn't. You forgot to get like the marker and then
Something to like measure it to like the perfect size.
yeah, and somehow you came up with the idea. It was like, oh, how about just use the tape measure from the store? Remember that?
Tell me about it, because I'm drawing a blank. I have so much shit happen. I forget things constantly.
So remember how we were supposed to put the plank on the bottom of the counter?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we were on our way to, I think, Lowe's or Home Depot, whichever.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of like driving home to get a tape measure, I was like, oh, Kev, let's just measure it while we're at Lowe's. So we just measured it while we were at Lowe's real quick, put the marker on there. This way we went back to the store, cut it, no problem. Didn't even need a tape measure.
Yeah, we just used the store's tape measure. So it's like little things like that because you came from nothing.
It sounds really little, but I think the thing you're getting at is like that we're resourceful, right?
Yeah,
instead of just like giving an excuse why I can't do something, or not trying at all, just find the new way to make it happen. You know
what's annoying? Like I'll ask someone to do something for me, someone that I work with. I'm not going to name who,
right?
And I'll be like, oh, did you get it done? He's like, oh, I couldn't do it because da 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 da. And I'm just like, yeah, well, if I was there, I would have done it like that. I would have done this way. And he'd be like, oh, he just didn't want to do it.
Right. Yeah, and I wish, because I have friends like this too, and I wish people would just be upfront with you and not lead you on that way. Because it's like, look, if you don't want to put the work in to create something with me, I'm totally okay with that. I'll just find the next guy that will.
Exactly.
So don't waste my time, don't waste your time. Admit where you're at.
Exactly.
We're trying to show you the light. We're trying to show you how to put the work in.
You're wasting our time.
Yeah.
Like, don't leave people hanging.
Yeah.
Like, if you were doing it for yourself, then yeah, take all the time you want.
Right.
That's just on you at that point. But when you're in a group, you're working on a group project, or you're collaborating with someone, they're putting in the work, so you should put in halfway.
Yeah, you should at least match that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you're one of the only ones
that starts matching that. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, no, you do more than me, and I'm like, fuck, I need to.
Yeah, but we got like a whole different dynamic set up. We're trying to build something huge,
Yeah.
And it's like you'll keep adding more to your plate as we keep going. I think part of like putting in this hard work we're talking about is like adding more and more over time and being able to actually take care of that much over time. You know what I mean? Because if you try to take on way too much at once that you're not ready for, sometimes that can backfire. Now, at the same time, leading into our next conversation about ego, sometimes it's good to bite off more than you can chew and then figure the rest out later.
Yeah.
And I think that's a healthy ego. When you believe in yourself enough to put yourself up against something and have the confidence to go against something to try to win, that's a healthy ego. Something I notice with people, and mainly people that are my age, I would say probably between 16 to like 30, that people don't understand, is when you're younger, you don't really have life experience to really have solid opinions or ideas about anything, right? So what happens is our parents, our peers kind of push certain ideas onto us at a young age that we kind of grab to emotionally and hang on to as like our own identity. So whether that's sex, religion, politics, any ideology, Earth's fucking flat, I don't care what you think. You might hold on to that because you learned that when you were a child and you think that's the only way it can be. Where this becomes a problem is now anytime somebody has an opposite opinion to yours, you're easily offended. Your whole opinion is basically biased. You talk shit on other ideas, and you don't really give the other people the time of day to hear what they have to say. I think that's a really bad problem with people, especially with politics. Like we've seen it the last 2 years with COVID and everything going on.
Yeah, even like years ago with like the Trump, and I mean it's always been like this too.
Right.
Like for like how many decades?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's so the Trump thing, for example, you know, when Trump was running for office, how many bad things were said about him?
Like so many I can't count.
So many you can't count. But you know what? Most of it probably wasn't even true. It was just somebody pushing their emotional tie to a party to make somebody else look bad, to make them feel good. Yeah. And that's really what I'm getting at, is like these people will talk shit to make themselves feel better when they've never really accomplished anything themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like people are just exposed to one idea because of social media and all that stuff. And I feel like you can only really feel about a certain party if you have enough life experience.
Right.
Like having a family, working a full-time job, owning a business, like actually like being really established, and then you get the full-blown effect of whatever's happening around you, rather than, you know, like you being stuck at your parents' house and being sheltered.
Yeah, because then you can actually see how the party is actually affecting you in your independent adult life.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas most of these people that like push these ideas, they're usually what? Young college kids that have never had any life experience. They're going to school on their parents' money. You know, they have nothing to show for what the way they're thinking.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it blows my mind, man.
It really does. But yeah, like this way of thinking can really backfire too, because now it limits your own growth.
Exactly.
So, for example, if I'm so stuck on thinking, you know, the rich are screwing us over tax wise, right? And that's what I push all day. And I tell people all the time, you know, the rich are for the rich. They're screwing over the poor, right? Well, I'm so worried about that I'm not thinking about, how do I get rich? How do I create the life that this guy created? Instead, I'm just hating this guy for the way, you know, for the things he created in his life, just because my side of the party tells me to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it comes back down to excuses.
Right.
I'm just like, okay, then what are you going to do about your situation? Obviously, you can't control what other people are doing, and you can't let that affect you. I mean, sometimes you can't control it.
Right.
However, you can control whatever situation that you're in.
Absolutely.
So all it is just self-accountability.
Right. Yeah, because we can't control anything that government's doing to us. We can't control what anybody's pushing anywhere else. And I'm not going to dive into any specific categories other than politics, because I feel like for me, politics is like the one thing that we should be able to openly discuss without having any emotional ties to. But that's kind of like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, which is definitely a huge issue. But yeah, like, be accountable for what you create in your own life. If your life sucks, it's probably because you haven't put the work in to create the life you want.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, me and Matt come from two different backgrounds. Matt got kicked out of his house, and, you know, I grew up privileged. So, but he and I still have the same mindset because we both want something bigger.
Right.
Like, you come up with, you know, with nothing. You lived in your car for like a couple months. Like, tell them about that.
Yeah, no, I think we touched on it the last podcast, maybe.
No, I cut that one out.
We cut that part out, but so we're going to touch on it now. So when I was coming up, like, you know, I wasn't, you know, I was getting into trouble. So I was living at my parents' house, got into a little bit of trouble, and my parents kicked me out, and I was living out of my car for a couple months. It was probably 2 to 3 months I lived out of my car. I was telling Kev, like, there was times where it'd be really rough. Like, I'd be freezing cold at night, and I'd wake up freezing cold. I'd restart my car just to get the heat back on until I could fall asleep again, turn it off as I'm falling asleep, and then same thing, wake up because it's freezing cold again, and keep doing the same cycle. So I've seen, like, what it's like to be, like, poor and, like, have nothing to your name, right? And it fucking sucks. So what I learned in life is, if I want to create something where I'm never going to be at that position in my life again, it's going to come all from my own hard work. You know, I'm never going to wait for somebody to hand it to me. I'm never going to wait for the government to help me out. I'm never going to wait for a job to pay me enough to get me where I want to be. I'm going to put my work in every single fucking day to separate myself from that gap as far as possible and never go back.
And then your intelligence just skyrocketed because you do things on your own and without your parents' help and everything like that. Whereas me, I grew up I grew up privileged. I admit that. I hate that about myself because it makes me, dumber. So, my parents always doing things for me, paying this and that for me. But, they'll tell me, hey, don't drive on the highway. I just started driving by myself. It's like, you need to take local. But I'm like, fuck that shit. Let me drive on the highway and I'll figure that shit out. And it goes back to what you said, like take big actions and figure out the rest later. So that's what I've been doing. So that's why I took that leap of faith and opening up Primal Nutrition with you.
Yeah, because sometimes you have to risk. Sometimes I'm telling you, like, I mean this. We've all been punched in the fucking face, right? By life, by another person. Dude, you need to get punched in the fucking face because then you got to figure out what you got to do next. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if you don't ever get punched in the fucking face, how are you ever going to grow as a person?
Exactly.
If you never jumped out of your parents' house and hopped on the highway, dude, you would have been driving local for the rest of your fucking life.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and because I stopped listening to my parents, and I'm not saying like, oh, I'm disobedient towards my parents, but I gotta figure things out on my own too. But because of that, when I help my friends out, or if they're dealing with a certain situation, I understand how to navigate certain problems. If I see my friends going through a similar problem like mine, or their problem solving isn't that great, I'm just like, oh no, you just do it like that, because I've came from that experience. Whereas like everyone's minds are so small because they're sheltered, so they don't know how to solve this problem they have at that given time, whether it's creativity wise, or when I'm there, I'm like, oh, easy. We can just do it like this.
Right.
And they were like, oh shit, I didn't think of that. And it all comes from experience, just putting yourself at risk, doing this and that and the third. Just do everything you can so you have that kind of experience in your arsenal. So when you're given certain problems, your thinking is really quick.
Right. Something I've really adopted for myself in like the last couple of years, even for the people around me, if shit's not going right, it's 100% my responsibility. If I don't like the way Kev's running the store, that's my responsibility. You know what I mean? If Kev's not successful, that's my responsibility. And I've taken that much responsibility in my life because I know what it takes to pull yourself from a low place and work yourself off. You work your ass off, right, to get to a higher place, right? And if you're sitting around and you're just blaming everybody for your fucking issues, you're never going to get anywhere.
Exactly.
You have to take full accountability and do whatever it takes, to make what you want happen.
Be the problem solver.
Be the problem solver. Exactly.
Going back to like the ego pandemic too, like people talking shit on others, like that's another waste of time too.
Right.
Yeah, because they're not solving problems. They're worrying about what other Joe Schmo is doing. People who talk shit are coming from a small-minded community.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're all saying this because we've all been there, like we've all been insecure. We've all been there. So we're just saying all this sort of harshly because we want you guys to be better.
Yeah. And we also decided that we're going to start saying things a little bit harsher because people need to feel, and really get a part of what we're trying to push here.
Yeah.
To add to that, like, you never really gain anything from talking shit to others other than like a sense of own confidence to yourself. So like you're really only talking shit on others to bring yourself up a little bit higher.
That's not solving any problems.
It's not solving any problems. And like you still have nothing to fucking show for it.
Exactly.
So it's like you're still not doing anything. You're still a fucking loser. Exactly. You just made yourself feel better off somebody else.
Yeah, because people who want to grow their lives, like people like us, we just talk ideas, not about people.
Right.
We talk about what can we do to improve this aspect of our lives or this aspect of the business. Whereas, people from a community of shit talkers, like in, my culture, Vietnamese community, it's a small community. So everyone's sort of small-minded because this is what all they know. It's just talking about like other parents' children, other parents, nieces and nephews. Be like, oh, my kid has this. How about yours? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that growing up middle class too. Like I think the middle class community is the same way.
Yeah.
It's like, these people usually like, let me just reiterate, we're going to say things how we feel them. And like, if this hurts your feelings, again, this podcast isn't for you. But when you grow up middle class, a lot of those parents that are in the middle class, they gave up on their dreams. They gave up on their passions in life. I'm not going to give up on mine. So like what these people do is like, they'll talk to these other parents and they basically live through their kids trying to like one up each other on what their kids are doing because they've never really accomplished anything that they want to do in life. And that's fucking sad to me.
Yeah. And, I'm saying this because I used to be like that too. And I realized I hate that about myself. And it's because of the people I surround myself with. The second I cut off certain people in my life and surround myself with more uplifting people who do talk about ideas and growth and stuff like that, I'm so much happier now.
Absolutely.
And I realized this is my calling. I want to be in business. I want to grow. I want to be creative and everything like that. It's easier said than done, but cut out the toxic people in your life who talk shit, who's negative, who is not doing anything with their lives and not growing.
Dude, and it's not easy. It is not fucking easy, right? Because it's going to be your best friend. It's going to be your family member. It's going to be your coach, your mentor. Dude, it's going to be people that are really fucking close to you that are fucking negative in that way that you're going to have to cut off.
Yeah, like I've had it like, an ex-girlfriend that's like that and she doesn't realize it, but I'm like, why are you spending so much time talking about another person? Why can't you just focus on, studying, growing, improving your skills?
I remember someone said something to me before and they said, really pay attention to how you feel after you leave a person. And that's the key right there, man. Like for your ex-girlfriend, for example, when you would leave her presence, man, how did you feel?
I feel more calm.
Calm.
Yeah. Like a clear mind. I'm like, I feel like a breath of fresh air.
Right. Yeah. So like if you're feeling that way, it shows you like all that negativity was just bringing you down. And now that you're away, you're feeling good again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's an example. So, and I told you this example before. So there's one girl, there was like, this Filipino pageant in college. She won first place, and she made like 20 different stories about it. I'm like, oh, good for you. But like this one girl, she sits around and complain about it. It's, oh, she's like, you're not a Miss Universe and stuff. I'm like, why do you care? Like, why? It's like, oh, she's annoying. I'm like, annoying? Okay, then unfriend her. I'm like...
Because what it comes down to, man, is like she was just jealous at the fact that this girl won and she's not doing anything.
Exactly.
And that's the truth to it.
Be productive with your own life. Don't worry about what some other girl is doing. And I feel like you said before this podcast, you said a lot of girls do gossip like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're made that way. And like I think like girls, like they're supposed to gossip to a degree and like have their little girl communication and stuff, right? But like when it's always and actually like with my girlfriend, she's seen this, like when it's always revolved around something negative about another girl and it's usually something that you're insecure about yourself, like that's not doing you any justice. It's just making you feel worse because you're going to feel better for a minute until you look in the mirror again and realize how fucking insecure you are.
Exactly.
So you're going high and low. You're never going to be fucking happy,
Yeah, I'm just lucky to have a girlfriend who doesn't talk shit because I'll give her, advice to help grow herself, and she's been taking my advice. And,
Definitely.
And she hasn't been talking shit about anyone. I'm like, wow.
Dude, when I got Marlo invested in the business like that she's working with us and everything, she started to realize over time just from dealing with customers, like... You don't want to bring that kind of mentality to customers. You want to create relationships with these people and really help them with their goals. How are you going to do that if you're talking shit on them all the time?
Yeah, and
it won't be genuine.
And again, like from a place of insecurity. And let's go back to insecurity though. Like the ego pandemic. There's a lot of, guys who try to portray themselves as like, oh, I'm grinding, but they're like every single day they talk about grinding and I'm like hustling, but like they have nothing to show for it. And it's like usually like these like fitness guys and stuff. And I used to be one of those guys, like trying to look like a fitness model, but like, do you have any money coming in?
Right.
All it is they just want that validation of like likes, follows and stuff like that.
So like, It is sad because like I do see a lot of these people, they want to pretend to be something they're not yet.
Yeah.
And like what I really want to say to them is like, yo man, like you can get there. You just got to put the fucking work in. Stop coming off to these people on Instagram, social media like you already got it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Come instead, if you want to bring value to people, come from a place of, you know, hey, this is my goal in life. And here I am putting the work in to achieve that goal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's so much fucking cooler than pretending like you already got it.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
ever since, I started... God damn. Okay.
Technical difficulties.
So ever since I got into business with you, or even, like learn how to market like my band, Elevated, I've been so focused on putting out content on those pages and try to get engagements, but not for validation or anything like that, but just to grow a fan base, to grow like clientele,
Right.
Because that's where the money will come in. That's where the success will come in.
Absolutely. And like my style of promotion, right?
Yeah.
Like I like to walk up, I like to shake somebody's hand, look them in the eye, have a good conversation with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I like to remember that person and have that conversation again and like talk about, maybe they told me something about their kid last time and now I'm asking them about their kid again. I like personal connection. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because that's so much more, and it's old school. It sounds fucking old school because everyone tries to tell you marketing's all social media now. Dude, that stuff is more impactful than any social media ever was. So I still think word of mouth is definitely your best promoter.
That's way more rewarding because with word of mouth and everything, you're not just selling the brand, you're not selling the name, you're selling yourself.
Right.
You're the brand.
Yeah, right.
And because of that, with me trying to figure out how to, grow my fan base, clientele, whatever, for my band or for Primal or even Resilient, posting for myself on my personal page feels like a chore now because I'm just like, I did a photo shoot and like I have these nice photos, but do I feel like posting this?
Because like when you're really like doing something you enjoy, you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the other people that you're like making an impact on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it becomes more important about the people than yourself.
Yeah, you're fulfilling your passions, the creativity, like it stimulates your mind. When you stimulate your mind doing the things that you love, it's just when you're doing things for vanity purposes, it's just like, I don't feel like it. I mean, I can like, okay, let me post it just so people know what's happening in my life. But otherwise, I'm going to like pull back after I post it and just not.
Dude, and then think about like the ego with that. Like if you're doing it for vanity, now your ego's got to blow up so that you can kind of protect that.
Exactly.
Because now you got to protect that. But like, dude, you never had that in the first place. So stop trying to protect it so hard. Just go out and fucking earn it. And then you won't have to protect it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't need to tell anybody what I do. I don't need to post that I'm at the gym every day on Instagram. I don't need to post... I might put up a picture once in a while, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to post every day flexing, I'm not going to post everything I fucking do because I'm not doing it for you guys. I'm doing it for me and myself, and this is what I love, you
Exactly.
know? And that's where people need to get. But what's crazy about it all?
Yeah.
Is like even the people that have those ego problems we're talking about, even you, even me, at the end of the day, bro, we all know what we do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So your confidence needs to come from what you actually do and what you do in your head, not this fake facade that you make up for yourself.
Yeah, and that goes back to put your money where your mouth is. And, when people say they'll do something, they must do it. In what you called it, social credit.
Yeah, I love this. I love to like think everybody has like a social credit score. And like every time somebody tells me they're going to do something and they don't do it, or they don't start putting action forth towards actually doing it, and they repeatedly tell me they're going to fucking do it, I start deducting points on their social credit score.
Dude, so
like me and Kev will have this joke about people we know, and I'll just say something to him off the cusp like, yeah, his credit fucking sucks. Just joking around. It's hilarious.
Yeah, dude. So like, there's a guy we both know. He says like, oh yeah, I'm going to lose weight. And then, or like, I'm going to go diet. And then like the weekend comes, he's like, oh, I fucked up. I had a family party. I'm gonna go back on a Monday. And he says this shit every single week. I'm like, I don't believe you anymore. I don't want to waste my time on you anymore. I entertained that idea for the longest time because I thought I believed in you and I'm excited for your journey. But if you keep slipping up every single week, like I don't care if you have like, family problems or you don't have like a good support system. Like you need to be your own support system.
For sure. Yeah. Dude, one of my best friends, same thing, constantly tells me he's going to do something, or let's say he's even going to set up something to do with me, constantly bails. And every fucking time I'll like tell Marlo like, oh yeah, he bailed again. And she's like, Matt, you tell me all the time to stop setting things up with these people that don't come through, but you always do it. So I'm a fucking hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite, but like I fall into the trap of my own damn self too. I know damn well this kid's not going to show up. Yeah. I know his social credit sucks, but I still try to believe him anyway. But that's because I think it's because my credit's so fucking good. I really mean what I say.
Exactly.
And like I expect other people to be that same fucking way.
And here's another example, So years ago, back in 2014, 2015, or even 2016, like back in college, I wanted to produce. Well, I already had experience recording, producing some music, and my friend wants to get on it. So I'm like, all right, I'm waiting on you. He wants to be a producer. I'm like, all right, I'm waiting. And it's like months go by. He was like, oh, I have family shit. I have this shit. I'm like, okay, fuck you, bro. I'm going to do it on my own because like I know I can do this on my own terms. I'm like, I'm not waiting on you because I think that's what sucks about working with people sometimes, because sometimes you have to wait on other people to get things done. And it's just like, things would be so much faster if you just do it on your own. But, over time, you do need a team.
For sure.
Yeah. Like you were able to do all this by yourself first before having me on board.
Right.
But that comes with the experience of working with people here and there. You kind of just shoot people off and take in the next person who does a better job. And I guess that's how we found each other.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a hard thing. Like that can go deep. That'll be for like another episode, like talking about like how you start developing your team, because that's something that I'm like in the process of learning and actually doing right now, which is really fucking cool.
Yeah, I never met anyone who's as hardworking as you. In terms of people around my age, you're a couple years younger, but still, we're still like our age gap is still pretty narrow. So I don't know any of my peers doing what you're doing, and I can totally relate to that on a different level because I'm not there yet, but my mindset is still there.
Right.
And I wanted something big, and a lot of our friends around us don't have that same mindset.
No, definitely. And to your credit, like you're somebody that I brought on my team because I see you doing the same thing. Yeah, working your fucking ass off, not giving excuses, not giving they don't like to say excuses, right? Not giving reasons why shit's not done, right? Like you've never done that to me. No, and that's somebody I would want to grow with.
And if I slip up or fuck up, I'm just like, fuck, let me work 10 times harder just so...
Right,
just to make up for it.
Dude, and that's going to happen. You're going to slip up. You're going to fuck up, right? We've had plenty of times where we've probably fucked up in business already, right?
Yeah.
But what do?
We learn.
We just learn. We just find the next solution. We just keep fucking moving. Exactly. Let it roll off the shoulder, keep moving.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot working with you, too, so...
Awesome. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, probably the most out of a lot of people I work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's start with some Q&A. So
let's tie that up by saying, like, I hope that was really beneficial for everybody, too. I think we dropped a lot of good points in there that we'd probably even like to go into more detail on future podcasts.
And if you're offended, fuck you.
Yeah, we don't care.
This is for, this is not for pansy-ass bitches. This is for strong-minded individuals who want to grow.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with the first example. So we're going to shout these people out because why not? True Robinson. Oh, he's actually one of the people we sort of partnered with. He gave us the sea mosses. So shout out to True.
And we're going to copy off Andy Frasilla's podcast. We don't do ads here, but if we did do ads, True Sea Moss is in all of our store locations. But we don't do ads, so we're not going to do that.
Yeah, he shouted us out on his story. We're going to shout him out. So.
And the sea moss drinks are awesome, and they taste amazing, and they're really healthy for you.
Yeah, and they'll help you prevent cancer.
but we don't do advertisements.
Yeah, we're not sponsored anyway. We just sell the products, you know? All right. So True Robinson says, if you want to get into working out again, where do I start?
That's a good question, True. I got the answer. So I think the number one way to really get back into the groove of working out, show up every day. You know, whether you walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes or you hit the weights for 10 minutes, it doesn't really matter what your work threshold is the first day you go in. It's just the fact that you're showing up every day, willing to put the work in to make yourself a better person. And I think if you can start that and you can get that going for like, let's say it's 90 days. If you can get that going for 3 months, you're going to be in hypnotic rhythm, which means you're going to show up every day because you want to, not because you have to.
Exactly. And, you know, a lot of people, they just try to make big changes, we always say big actions and figure this stuff out later. But at the same time, when you're trying to change like a lifestyle, it's a habit.
Right.
So you need to, small changes that you can sustain for a long period of time, keep doing it. And then when you're comfortable with it, change it up a little bit. And over time, you'll have a completely different lifestyle, but it takes years.
Yeah,
it's a marathon.
I think they say 30 days to build a habit.
Yeah.
So after 30 days, you should have the habit built. That's a good habit. Okay, now we need to add the second good habit.
Yeah.
You know? So let's say we went to the gym for 30 days. We got that habit going. All right, now let's start to focus on our protein shakes. Let's drink 2 protein shakes for the next 30 days. Okay, now we're getting healthier because we're eating healthier. Okay, next 30 days, let's add in a gallon of water. So now within a 3-month period, we're working out every day. We're hitting 2 protein shakes a day and we're drinking a gallon of water.
Yeah.
So
small changes to your life and it'll...
Massive result though.
Yeah.
Because a year from now, you're going to look fucking great.
Exactly. And a lot of people, their mistake is they're going all in way too fast. And then they could not handle that big change.
That pressure, yeah.
Yeah, and then so they had to back out and go back to their old
It's
habits.
funny, it relates back to our first conversation.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to use my ego to a healthy advantage and bite off more than I can chew and then figure it out, right? Sometimes you can't do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll backfire and it'll crush you, you know?
Exactly.
So just keep that in mind. Know your limits.
Yep. All right. Do you have any questions?
I had a guy, actually a friend of mine, Brendan, give me a question last week that I forgot to answer. And it's funny because I thought he had one of the best questions. He asked me, what is it like and how do you manage 4 store locations? And basically my answer to that was the only reason why that would be a problem is if I needed balance in my life, right? So I don't look at balance day by day. I look at balance in life as in, for me, I'm going to put in all the work now so that in the future, I can live the life I want to live. And I don't want to wait till I'm 40. I want to get this done by I'm 30, so I can actually start living the way I want to. That's what keeps me pushing. That's what keeps me motivated. Like I said earlier too about the living situation, I want to separate myself from that gap as far as possible. And if I was thinking about balance day by day, I would never get to the goals that I want to achieve. So for me, it's about putting the work in while I'm young so that, as I get older, I already have all the experience and knowledge, to keep that going through the rest of my life.
I got nothing better to say than that. So. Yeah, that's solid. I agree.
Yeah, because that's me in the process too. This is how I feel in the process. And the craziest part about it is I love the fucking process. If you ever see me, you'll always see me with a fucking smile.
Yeah.
Something I hear these millionaires and stuff say that have done things that I'm trying to do. Dude, the reward's in the journey. Me and Kev fucking around before the podcast or whatever, that's the reward. Us just enjoying the time we have is our fucking reward.
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head. All right, next guy. Big guy to beast. So how does one get past gym intimidation?
Gym intimidation. Do you want to start this one off, Kev? Or?
So I would say just go into the gym. Don't worry about other people because at the end of the day, we're all in there for the same reasons. And I know, it's a little intimidating because it's a new world for you. So I would say, maybe go in with a buddy at least for a little bit, but don't rely on having a gym partner because that's where you fuck up. Because I have friends who are like, oh, you can't go to the gym. Oh, then I won't go. But if it helps, go with a gym buddy. You know, after a while, when you're going in by yourself, try and make friends with people in the gym. And because at the end of the day, the gym should be a community based, and everyone's in there for the same reasons. I think the reason why people are intimidated of the gym is because the stereotype, you know, the big guys and stuff like that. But, you know, those guys are insecure too.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's funny about that is like those guys are usually the nicest people in the fucking gym.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like me and Matt are gym rats, but we'll talk to anyone.
And like the thing is, like, when you build yourself up in the way where you become one of those, let's say, alphas in the gym, right? Dude, like, you got so much confidence that, like, if somebody is out of shape or something, you know, the ones that are getting intimidated, like, I want to uplift them and I want to make them feel good about being here because, you know, because I was insecure once, that's why I'm this big, right? That I want to make him feel good and feel comfortable so he stays and he gets the results and rewards that I got from this.
Yeah, dude. Like these guys who just started, they're not, built yet, and they're struggling on lighter weights that you and I would be able to bench easily. But when I watch them and when they have like perfect form and everything like that and they finish their set, I'll be like, good shit, bro.
For sure.
Way to push.
Dude, and I think it's like, it's funny too, because like, think about it this way. This is from somebody with like experience in the gym and everything. So like, I'll be hitting like 15-pound curls, right? Not doing anything crazy, just getting a nice pump going. And I'll see like the high school 16-year-old that weighs like 120 pounds come up and he starts curling like the 40s. And I see him looking at me in the mirror as if he's stronger. And I laugh. This is from somebody with experience. I laugh. Because I remember being him. I remember being that kid that wasn't too big, that was insecure, that tried lifting the heavy weights, probably going to hurt himself, just to try to impress other people. But now that I'm that other guy and I'm laughing, I realized, oh shit, when I was younger, those people were probably laughing at me too.
Yeah, exactly.
So just recognize the people that are coming in with those big egos, it's usually because they're fucking new to the gym also.
Yeah, and if there are like, gym rats that are assholes, those people are scums of the earth anyways. They like don't pay them no mind. Those people are just, I guess, minorities of the gym population because most people are pretty nice. They want
it is weird. Like there's definitely like a group, I'd say it's like more towards the bodybuilding group where like it's a lot of shit talk, it's a lot of hate, and it's funny too, because most of these guys, like we said before, they're running hardcore stuff to get the results that they have. And it's just like, it's really pathetic that they'll try to put other people down.
Mm-hmm. It's not just bodybuilders, but it's just, I don't know. It's just weird people, honestly. Those guys are weird. So if you ever...
Bottom line, those guys are weird.
Yeah, so if you ever deal with assholes in the gym, they're just weird.
Right.
Like they're not, they don't represent all of us. Because me and Matt, we're nice guys. So if you come up and talk to us, be like, oh yeah, we'll shoot the shit with you all day. I mean, well, don't waste our time because like we still have our lives to go.
Yeah, right.
But like we don't mind shooting the shit with you every now and then. We're not gonna be like, oh, don't come over to us.
No, for sure.
It's like, oh, you're too small. You're not in the club. I'm like, that's stupid.
Nah, dude, I was in the gym today. The two couple kids I talked to, they were probably 17, 18 years old. He wanted to know what my shirt said. It was one of the only Primal shirts.
Yeah.
And we just started a conversation off that.
Yeah. And one final question. Let me switch over to my private. I actually put up on my story. So I want to shout out to my friend, Janelle Feliciano. Does ashwagandha work? Yes, it does. You're more knowledgeable about it than me.
What is she trying to use it for?
He.
Oh, sorry, Janelle. My fault. So really, ashwagandha is really good for the cortisol levels. So that's your stress hormone. So if you're ever feeling like stressed out or you got a lot on your plate, I would recommend taking it then just to prevent any muscle wasting because that stress hormone can really cause you to waste muscle tissue. There's a lot of other benefits to it too. Like, if you're trying to have kids, it can help aid in fertility. It can help raise your natural testosterone production. Other than that, the main thing for me is really the cortisol levels. That's the most beneficial part to it. What I would say is it's important to have your cortisol level high in the morning. So if you're going to take ashwagandha, make sure you do it later in the day. And you also don't want to run ashwagandha too long. So make sure you're cycling it every couple of weeks and coming off for a couple days.
Yep. Sounds about right. Because I took it and my stress levels like went down, especially when I was like bodybuilding and stuff like that.
It's weird. Like you feel so calm when you're taking it. It's almost like a CBD.
Yeah. Without the THC or without any of the...
Well, CBD doesn't have THC.
Yeah. Well, if there is, it's like 0.03%.
Yeah. If you're worried about that. Yeah.
But no, ashwagandha, they totally work. All right, this wraps up our episode 2. Hopefully this was more organized than last week, but we still honestly try to get better each episode. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, we're, like we said, it's going to be an everyday practice of getting better. So, follow, like, subscribe, and share this with your friends.
Yeah, please share it. Oh yeah, and if you're listening on Spotify, share that shit too.
Please share it. We have to pay off Kev's camera.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks, guys.